Today we talk about Vincent van Gogh and how the thing he loved most poisoned his mind. The infamous Vincent van Gogh. I truly do not believe this artist needs an introduction. If you have made it to this video, you probably already have a few facts about Vincent van Gogh up your sleeve, but I will certainly try to bring you something new and interesting. Van Gogh was a Netherlandish artist born on March 30th, 1853. He was born exactly 1 year after his parents suffered a stillbirth, a child whose name was also Vincent. We're just getting right into it today. Being the oldest surviving child of the Van Gogh family, Vincent would come to have 5 younger siblings. I'm gonna be real with you, Vincent van Gogh was not a good student. While he was proficient in many subjects, he did not have the patience to study and spent a lot of his time jumping from job to job and walking around simply enjoying nature. Vincent and his brother Theo had a lifelong habit of writing letters to one another. And in some of these, Vincent would include sketches of people or places in his life. After a string of failed career starts, Theo encouraged Vincent to focus on his art, even sending money to a then jobless Van Gogh. Vincent was schooled in painting and sketching both informally by an uncle and formally. In some of his work, we see how masterfully he grasped foundational skills like shape, form, and lighting. But he seemed to find the realistic style of painting incredibly boring. If I had to guess, I would say this is partially owing to the advances in photography. Before photographs were widely available, paintings were the only way to capture an image for most people. But in the late 1800s, many perceived that simply reproducing an image with paint was now unnecessary. After attempting and failing art school, Van Gogh eventually found himself living in Paris with his brother Theo. And it was here that he found enough inspiration to shift his painting style entirely. In his previous works, we see a very dark and somber palette. But Paris gave Van Gogh the confidence to experiment with color and style, eventually leading to the painter that we know and love. While his works are infamous and well-loved now, at the time they were produced, they were largely considered offensive to the eye. These strokes reminded people of sharp spines and therefore danger. Van Gogh certainly struggled in his job life, but he also seemed to struggle heavily socially. The only consistent friend we see in his life, other than his brother Theo, was another artist named Gogh. I'll talk more about Gogh in a later video. However, it's widely believed that even Gogh was paid off by Vincent's brother Theo in order to give him a friend and an outlet. Eventually, their relationship also deteriorated, leaving Van Gogh very mentally vulnerable. When the city of Paris became too much for him, he eventually moved into a more rural area of France. I'm going to try really hard to pronounce this correctly. The city he moved to was Auvers-sur-Oise. It was here that Vincent van Gogh actually seemed to be doing very well. With his newfound confidence that he brought with him from Paris, he's believed to even have had a romantic interest in this city, and late letters to his brother Theo suggest that he was considering creating a home for boys that would give unhoused teens 1, housing, and 2, skills in the arts. However, before he was ever able to realize this dream, in 1890, Vincent van Gogh died of a gunshot wound at age 37. For many years, the shot was thought to be self-inflicted, whether intentional or accidental. But a more current and arguably more popular theory is that a farmer who Van Gogh previously had beef with was the actual perpetrator. Regardless, Van Gogh is one of many artists to have suffered from lead poisoning. Other artists that we've studied who had suspected lead poisoning include Caravaggio and Francisco Goya. And this can cause symptoms that can easily be mistaken for mental illness, which is why many of our artists led somewhat troubled lives. Since this video was more of an artist profile and less of a study on specific works, I thought I would include my personal favorite painting by Van Gogh, Café Terrace at Night. This oil painting was completed in 1881 and currently lives in the Kröller-Müller Museum. Van Gogh lived quite the storied life. He was a preacher. He fell in love with a sex worker, lived almost nomadically, experienced deep loneliness, and gave nearly all of his possessions away to needy families and communities. I know you can't know how someone actually was just by researching them and reading their biographies, but I believe Van Gogh was an uncommonly sensitive person who tried his absolute best in this confusing world. I hope you enjoyed the style of today's video. Next week we'll be returning to a more art-focused style of content. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.